Hello, guys, and welcome back. Another exciting show on hand here. As you can tell, we are not outside tonight because it rained for most part of the half part of the day, and I was a little weary about it might have another chance of rain this evening, so I figured we'd move it indoors and go with it from there. It's good to be back. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. It's been about a week or two since we've been on, and a lot of things in this country have transpired. A lot of new developments. I think the last time we were on, Mike, I think Joe Biden had just uh, recently announced that he was not going to be the nomination for the Democratic Party, and Kamala Harris was trying to arouse support to get the nomination. And since then, Kamala has named a vice presidential candidate. Uh, there have been other developments, transpired. We've seen, Donald Trump has taken to um, X with Elon Musk, a billion plus people. Kind of tells you it may be bigger than what people anticipated. But there's been a lot of developments. I'm happy to be here. Hopefully, we can,
Try,
dive right into
trying to
information
trying to move the
and
camera
kind of and
around a little.
kind of bring people up to par on where we're at, some of the developments that are that have taken place, developments that are in the process of taking place, and what could possibly be around the corner. So,
Uh, Sounds like an interesting show, but before we jump into that, I got two things that I want to announce out to everybody. So I'll start with the first one. But our good buddy Jim Foster, Jim Foster, who comes on the show, his new movie Terror House has just released on Amazon Prime. You could go over to Amazon Prime. It's called Terror House, and you can go to YouTube and actually watch the trailer and see a lot of Jim in the trailer. So that's pretty cool. We're going to try to get him on here maybe in the next time we're on, and you know, he never mentioned anything about making no movie or being any part of a movie, but
it's the
this,
first I'd heard of it.
that's pretty interesting. So I can't wait to check that out. And then two, on a more of a local note, Giovanni's of West Liberty. I want to bring up Giovanni's, and there they are. There they are. There's their phone number on the screen. But I wanted to bring up something real quick here, actually from the man himself. They have the 28-inch pizza challenge that Walker asked that I bring up here tonight. They've had four teams try it, four fails, and
Are,
so
are you trying to say that me and you are going to take the plunge?
Oh no,
And
you already.
well, no, we've got something
there is
different.
no way.
We've got something different because me and you, let me pull back over to us real fast. Me and you have been asked, and you agreed on a live video chat that we are going to be subject to the hot wing challenge.
Oh,
So we're and that will be aired live on this program along with Giovanni's actually running it on their program. So if you could give Giovanni's a call, Walker and them, they have daily specials down there. They deliver in the entire Morgan County except I believe Moon, which about Moon. That is pretty much to the moon, but they do not deliver to Moon, Kentucky. But I think they deliver out to about East Valley or somewhere through there. So yes, give Giovanni's a call. Their order, they will ship anywhere in the county.
let
Um,
me add this. You were talking about that 28-inch pizza challenge. You said four
Four
people,
teams have
four teams
attempted it, and
tried.
there's four fails. Absolutely.
I watched two of them online, and it
Yeah,
was
I've watched a
awesome to
few.
watch them because I thought there was a possibility that one team that I watched would possibly eclipse it and destroy it, but they
Yeah,
failed. They
yeah,
failed.
I'm like you. I thought there would. Melina says she's listening from the door. I told her she was banned from the shows. I mean, she's been told she's banned for 8 more shows, and she didn't think I was telling her the truth, so she's been banned. But yes, guys, give Walker and the gang down there at Giovanni's, give them a shout out at 743-2000. They will ship. They will ship. They will deliver anywhere in the county. And me and Matthew, let me get back over here. Me and Matthew have accepted the hot wing challenge, so be looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome. We have accepted the hot wing challenge, so I hope you like hot stuff, buddy, because we got not one but two lives are actually going to be going during that one. So and if you want to, we'll do the 28-inch pizza one
No,
too.
I'm good.
But right now, I think we'll just settle with the hot wing challenge.
I'm not sure I can even fathom the idea of trying 28-inch pizza. I've seen it, and I'm the same
Yeah,
guy.
I've watched them. But yeah, so do look for me and Matthew on the Giovanni. Well, we'll be live on this page plus the Giovanni's page because we have accepted that challenge, and we appreciate Walker, asking us that, and we're all about giving him support and keeping it going. But I guess we'll go ahead and get the show on the road. Where do we want to start? You mentioned the last time that we were on that Joe had just announced that he was stepping down, and then since then we've been on the air. She's named she's named her VP running mate. I'm sure we'll have some names for him here shortly because the more you read into this guy, yeah, the more it gets a little wild. I mean, this guy, I thought she was a wild one, but after I read into, was it Tim Waltz? Is that his name? He's a little out there, so I guess we'll just see how things go. I mean, I even heard there was a run in with a horse. So, you're getting ready to learn about it here momentarily, but we'll dive in first and see where we're at here. But I mean, there's all kinds of different things going on. So wherever you want to start.
I mean, I'm good anywhere you want to go. You talked about Joe Biden. Let me first say this. On the last program that we had, I want to say that I came forward and said that Donald Trump had made a statement and gave a speech at the border wall in which, this was back in 2020, in which he basically stated that the 25th Amendment would not hurt him at all, but it would come back to haunt Joe Biden. And I made mention that there was an attempt by Nancy Pelosi to implement legislative changes whereby the vice president, members of Congress, and presidential cabinet members could make a decision as to whether or not the president was mentally capable of doing the job. Now, a lot of people have just basically stated that the pressure and stress of the everyday activities of being the president of the United States got to Biden, and that he is and has had some dimensional issues. And as a result of that, he has stepped aside. I basically came forward and told you that there was a coup within the party. And what I have been able to confirm is that Joe Biden admitted this past week that he was pushed out of the presidential race by members of his own party. And he specifically named one person. And I named that person. And her name was Nancy Pelosi. And how they made legislative amendments to change. Now, what I'm going to tell you is Nancy Pelosi has thus since then come out and basically stated that she is casting doubt on the letter that Joe Biden resigned with. Remember, I told you in the last program that the letter did not have White House stationery on it, and that the signature did not match the signature of Joe Biden. Therefore, she's casting doubt that Joe basically, I don't know. She basically said, I don't know. It didn't sound like Joe Biden to me. It really didn't. However, Joe Biden has come out and publicly stated that there was a coup within his party and that they put pressure on him to either withdraw from the race or the 25th Amendment would come into play. I'm going to tell you that it wouldn't surprise me one bit that when the Democratic National Convention happens, that Joe Biden shows up and requests and asks for his presidential nomination back. Why? And I know a lot of people are going to question that. I'm going to tell you why I think that's going to possibly happen is because Kamala didn't win the Democratic nomination. She didn't win any single delegate,
no
not
primary,
one single primary. So therefore, Joe is going to come back, and I think Joe is going to come into the picture, and I think Joe's going to ask for his nomination back, and it's going to create divisions within the party even more. And quite possibly they could replace her. And the timetable for the election is growing closer and closer and closer. We're about 75 days away from the election, somewhere around in there, maybe give or take a couple of days, but we're that close. Could it happen? So, I think, Biden coming out this week and saying that a coup occurred within the party confirms what I said previously. And this was weeks ago. So that tells you, Mike, that a lot of these things are researchable. You can find it, that there is possible meaning in these things. You just have to put and connect the dots.
Yeah, I mean, when we were on 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, one of the things I had in my write up, and I asked everybody, which it's pretty much been the same for those 2 weeks. I said at the end of it, I said, "Where is Joe Biden?" Because since the moment her name was released out as being, the possible candidate or the nominee, he just kind of been gone. I think earlier this week he came out, and actually was on stage with her, but he didn't seem to. Some of his face, which they've always been a little different, but his facial features wasn't looking like someone who was too highly impressed, with someone being more into the spotlight than what a man being president actually should be, but we've also seen Obama and them also as well, come in and get more attention than he did. So yeah,
that's after he growed.
Yeah, I mean, he growed for it, but but I mean, did you see? Okay, so I have to do this. I mean, so we're liable to get kicked off the air, but I have. Did you see the picture of Mark from the bathroom with the spider and the spider?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I don't have it on here, but if I did have it on here, I would show you. But the picture was taken of Mark standing over the toilet, but you can actually see a reflection of something other than the spider. And then actually, it's actually a video of it. So when I listened to the part of the video, all I heard Melina say was "hot and spit on that thing. So nobody thought they'd ever hear me say that online, but. But anyway, if anybody wondered what that noise was in the background a minute ago, I promised, I've said it for weeks, that Melina would be banned from these shows. And she was literally locked out of this building. I told her earlier today, you will not be in this building. So she was locked out of here. But
you look at America, and I say this. You were talking about Biden. After the debate, there was a sense of panic in the Democratic Party. Yeah, everybody would have to agree with that, because the party and a lot of people were, and the media, mainstream media, even basically started to convey that Joe Biden was mentally incapable, and that, he was displaying some signs that, it wouldn't be a good choice for him to run against Donald Trump in the presidential election. Now what's happened, Mike, is in a matter of weeks, they've went from panic to now all of a sudden they've got the heir apparent to Joe Biden, and the media is pushing this agenda that she is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, there was an ad today where she was holding a loaf of bread, a cheap loaf of bread, and that bread costs $9 a loaf. When people vote in the presidential election of 2024, I hope they vote with their stomach in mind, because we have been impacted tremendously, have the middle class and the working class at the store. But yet they're telling you in the media that the inflationary problem in this country is under control, that it is being fixed. The only problem is look at your purchases, look at what you're buying, look at the prices you're paying. It is not being fixed. So basically, what I say is this, and I reiterate this. She had a job as the vice president. Her job was to assist Joe Biden in helping to correct some of the problems that was plaguing this country. They promised America that they would rectify all the problems that were potentially major hazards for the years to come. How many of those problems have they addressed? Okay, she was given the specific title and responsibility of
the border. The border has not been rectified. And I'm going to look at you and tell you that she's come out and basically said that if and when she is elected president, she is going to secure the border. She's going to crack down on human sex trafficking. She's going to crack down on illegal fentanyl coming into this
She
country.
also said at the same speech that she's going to lower the prices of everything and bring costs down. She's the vice president. Well, and the borders are currently. So why is that not happening now? Why does it have to wait till you're elected?
So that's the question. Why we've had 3.5 years to address these issues, and they were not addressed. And as a result of that, and like I said, I'm not trying to make people out there mad. I'm just telling you facts. She's had the opportunity to help correct these problems, but now all of a sudden she's in the media's limelight. She's at the center of attention, and now she's talking fix problems rather than just sweep them under the rug, which was the last 3.5 years.
All you gotta do is fix the damn wall.
Yeah. Yes, I think it might have been the same
Well,
speech that you're talking about. She was talking earlier this week. She was going to bring the cost of food and gas and all this stuff. And it's like, you're the vice president now, so why are you not doing? Why is the last 3.5 years of this not happening? And then just miraculously in the first 100 days, you're going to do all this.
That's why I say that when people go to the polls in November, they should vote with their stomach in mind and the issues of what has taken place. Don't forget, and don't forgive. Do what you have to do to correct that problem. Elizabeth Warren came out today. Senator Elizabeth Warren came out and stated that there is a major housing issue in America, that potentially between 8 to 15 million Americans will be homeless in the next 3 to 6 years. How do you correct that problem? I know how to correct that problem. You know how to correct that problem. The only problem is a lot of these people are potentially adding to the problem. I talk about Tim Walz. Tim Walz, during 2020, sent the Biden administration a letter. And I've got the letter on here if you want to see it. I sent it to you, Mike. A letter, yes. He sent a letter to the Biden administration saying that he would support Afghan refugees being sent to the United States and that his state would house them, that they would house those illegal aliens coming to this country. What's happened? Sanctuary cities. A lot of these sanctuary cities right now don't want the mass numbers that they have. They have a problem. Right now, the media is not reporting on the immigration problem in Great Britain, where the working class has voiced their opposition to the anti-establishment that's going on there. The establishment is supporting mass immigration. They have voiced their opinion against that, and it's created mass riots.
To the point to where Americans are even being threatened that if you post on Facebook or something against it, that the prime minister over there will actually have charges brought against you and have you arrested. Which is, I'm like, I don't understand that. But you mentioned something real quick. I'm gonna get to a comment here real quick about when you go to the polls this year to vote with your stomach. Well, that's what we're going to be doing in Morgan County, especially a few of us, because Dean asked here, have we discussed the wet dry votes? Well, actually, we did, when it first came out. But since we were on the last time, the wet dry vote actually has passed, or it didn't pass, but it got enough votes to be able to, or signatures to be able to be put on the ballot in November. And it's not a West Liberty thing, it's countywide. So, people of Morgan County, will be able to vote on the ballot, if they want the county to be wet or dry. And we talked about it a few weeks back, when it was first brought up about, different things about it. So, I just wanted to bring that up because it was brought up here in the comments. So, I mean, me and you drink pretty heavy Mountain Dew and Coke Zero. So I mean, I don't even have anything.
You're talking.
Here tonight,
Here's my rationale on that. Listen, I prefer. People are going to make a decision that they feel is best in the best benefits of themselves. I'm not an avid drinker, therefore.
You do. But you are a drunk, right?
Well, I drink a lot of Mountain Dew. Okay. But if you get drunk on Mountain Dew, I'm probably plastered 90% of the time. But let me say this. I realize there are people that drink, and that's their prerogative, and that's their choice. I would much rather, and I know people are going to probably say, well, you shouldn't think this way. Okay. If it can bring and generate revenue, business opportunities, employment opportunities, I think that our community should look at that. Now, do I think from a Christian standpoint it goes against values? Yes. But if people are still going to participate in it, Mike, I would much rather someone be able to go to a local venue, a gas station, 1 minute from their house, get in their car, drive back to their house, then drive 35, 40 minutes where there is the potential that when you're on the road to do what? Drink and
Well,
drive. So I mean, I look at the
I agree with
positives
that.
and the negatives of both sides. I look at it from the perspective of if we want our town to grow, we want businesses to come here. A lot of people won't even potentially look at Morgan County simply
Well,
because
they're not going to look at any county that ain't dry or that ain't
because
wet.
they can't, you
So,
know, they can't if they can't possess a liquor license to sell alcoholic beverages, it doesn't entice them to make money. But I'm gonna look at you and tell you there's positives and negatives. You're gonna have people on both sides of the fence. It's not for me to decide. It's not for you to decide. It's the county has a decision. People have to look at whether or not they want economic revenue to be brought here, or as I say this, some people are so, and I don't mean this negative, they're religiously minded that they think that alcohol leads to negativity.
all
And like I said, you know, I'm not one to decide that, but I'm just telling you there's positives and negatives, and people in the county will
well, I
decide.
mean, you talk about the religious thing of it, and I've seen a lot of people kick back on it, on that side. But there's a lot of other things going on in this community that I think more religiously should be looked at more than someone voting on a wet dry vote. I mean, I'm not going to say we got any drinkers in the audience here tonight, but um, would you much prefer them to be able to buy drinks from here and locally? Or like you said, are you going to drive to Round County or Wolfe County or McGoffin County?
Every
And,
county,
and then you're going to be driving on the main roads where maybe you start sipping a little before you get back home. You hit somebody. It would be more preferable to bring it here. And then, like you were talking about with revenue, we got a Mexican restaurant. Have you ever been to Mexican restaurants outside of West Liberty? They all serve alcohol. So I mean, it would make it easier. I mean, it would bring revenue and different things in to the county, but I don't know.
like I said,
Figure we'd
you
be
know,
getting a little bit more reaction from the audience,
well,
but they don't seem. All they want to do is drink this stuff.
I've lived here my whole life, and in this community and in this town, and I've seen things that have come before uh, policymakers, and they have made decisions that have impacted people. I remember when I was growing up in this community when MTV was a big thing when it
You
first
mean
came
you
out.
had TVs then?
Well, we did. We did. It was a long time ago. It was black and white. We only got three channels, 3, 8, 13. We had to go up on the hill and adjust the antenna to get that thing to where it had a good clear enough picture to watch. But let me say this. I remember as a young boy in this community when MTV was new, and there were people in the community that were fighting hard to get MTV banned from your local television distributor simply because they thought that it was going to make kids be adherents to devil worshiping and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that there's not music in the world that doesn't probably promote that, but there was a
Oh, they are, but they
I
prefer kids
watched
to
I
listen to
watched
that. So.
TBS when I was a kid. TBS and TNT every Friday night and
The
Saturday
Turner
night had
Broadcasting
had
Network.
had had what we would call music videos on at 10, and then on Saturday they were on at 10 o'clock on Friday night, 10 to 12, and then Saturday night I think they ran all night. It was all night. So I mean, there's a lot worse things. We've got a drug epidemic in this county. It needs to be solved. You've got fentanyl, you've got heroin, you've got cocaine, and I can go on and on and on. We got problems that need to be addressed. And I'm not saying that I'm not advocating negativity. I'm not advocating drugs. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that from a business perspective and a growth perspective, if we ever want this town to grow, then there has to be something. But I don't know, and I say this, and people may get mad when I say
It
this.
don't matter if
You
they
know,
do. Keep saying it.
there may be some people that don't want this town to grow. You know,
Well, I guarantee you, I don't know if there's any in the audience, the watching audience here, not the in person. I'm sure there are probably some there now that are cussing us right now saying it. But like you said, there's bigger problems in this county than a wet, dry vote. And even if it passes in November and, whenever, December, January, whenever it comes into effect, there's still going to be worse issues going on in this county than what a being able to sell an alcoholic beverage here.
They don't want the county to change because the money's been in the same pocket for years. It's been the same group. So it might give somebody else an opportunity.
Same group. You know what I'm saying?
Hush.
Barbie says,
Not me.
I don't drink, but everyone around us sells it. So do they plant the money to come in this area or go somewhere else? There's choice. So, that's what I'm getting at is, would you rather spend your money? Now, I'm not going to say they're going to be here at the store. It probably ain't going to be a big, a beer joint, set up back here in the back corner, but if it gets you to come in and buy, maybe we can get you a gun and a case of beer at the same time. If that's what. Well, Mark already bought us out.
and the
But-
hits just keep on coming.
But the thing is, would you rather someone buy here and put money into Morgan County and West Liberty, or would you rather them go to Moorhead? Because
Well-
if you're in Moorhead, you're not.
Okay, classic example. Look at the growth that has happened in Moorhead in the last, I'm going to say, 35 years. I remember when you had to go the old 519 route to Moorhead. Most of you remember that.
Oh
it,
God, yeah.
It was a curvy road. You were probably
That
sick.
hill down there would make
Yeah.
you sick going
Clack
on.
Mountain would
Clack
kill
Mountain,
you.
yeah.
And then when you pulled into Moorhead, they had probably 4 or 5 restaurants. They had your McDonald's, they had a Long John Silver's, and they may have had 1 or 2 more venues that you could choose from. Look at what's happened to that place. It's grown by leaps and bounds, but it's brought economic opportunities. They have a barrel factory there. They have an industrial park. They have a lot of job availabilities.
What is it? What's
The
tomato
hospital. The hospital is
thing?
growing.
App Harvest. They've got
Yeah.
App Harvest out there.
Everything's
Family
growing
Dollar
now.
distribution
And
out there. So
if we want this town to grow,
Mark knows about
then
that.
something has to give and something has to change.
So can I
you
tell
know-
you from the perspective of a small business is if
Here we
someone
go.
drives to Moorhead to get their alcohol, they're also going to buy their groceries. They're also going to get their other needs met.
Get gas.
They're going to get gas. They put their money in Moorhead, and so that hurts every business that's in West Liberty when we don't allow opportunity for people to be able to receive stuff
So
here.
they can
Well-
get here.
The
and
same-
Well, just like
I'll
what you
say
say
we-
about here, with Carhartt, or Carhartt or hoodies or a pair of jeans that you may have here that someone will drive to Moorhead or Winchester
They're
to
getting
buy.
liquor, they're
So
gonna
it's going to be no different with alcohol. Valerie says if we want to build tourism, it needs to pass. And that's true, because it's just like here, though. We're just a pair of these socks that are on the wall here behind us. If somebody drives to Moorhead or Winchester and buys them, the money's not coming into your small businesses.
And therefore-
So I'm not saying we're going to have a small alcohol store here, but we probably will.
So
But,
there's no
you know.
economic growth. It's the same thing with the city pool, with the town pool. I know there's been fuss about that they don't have the money to make that, but when you don't open up the summer pool, then no one's in town during the summer, which hurts every small business that's in town.
Because kids are having to go to other
They're going to
counties
Menifee County, they're
in the
going to Brown County.
summertime to be able
Well,
to
you
play.
think about it. Okay, all the counties that are around us. Okay, Round is wet.
Yep.
Okay,
McGoffin,
McGoffin is wet. Wolf is wet.
Wolf,
Johnson
Johnson.
is wet. So Lawrence touches us. I probably I'm not 100% sure, but I would probably say the city that Louisa and Lawrence is probably wet. So you might get
Not sure.
Frenchburg, and I don't know if Frenchburg's wet or not. I'm not-
Frenchburg, I don't
They're
think.
not.
Frenchburg,
I don't think Elliott County is. So
you
that's-
got Elliott County, Menifee, Morgan. But yeah, you can go to Breathitt. Breathitt's just,
and I understand both sides of the perspective because you're going to have people that are going to be on this side saying, the likelihood of someone getting injured, hurt is going to go up. Well, I'm going to look at you and tell you there are counties that are not wet, where those fatalities are still.
it's still happening
It's
right
still
here in
happening,
Morgan
yeah.
County, and we're not wet. So
What if
that's
I
what
buy
I'm saying. I
Moorhead?
don't think it's going to hurt anything
Take
if
a
we.
chance with anything on this.
Yeah.
No, there's probably going to be people, and probably getting private messages now from people that are saying, "I can't believe you all are talking in favor of this." And it's like, dude, This is Morgan County. I'm just going to say it. The county that we've never had anything in. We've got line apparel. We've got the prison. What else? That's it.
I mean,
You
I
know, we
drink,
don't have,
I drink and I drink.
and those are big. Those are places of work.
But I'd rather bring beer.
You know, that's places of work. We don't have a movie theater to go to. We don't have big gaming centers to go to. You know what I'm saying? We could get that stuff again, maybe, if we bring the revenue in here.
And Round County is not wet itself; it's just the city limits in Round County.
My
Yeah.
thing is that it should be put on a ballot, and the people of Morgan County should vote. All the people of Morgan County should vote,
Exactly.
not just the city.
And if the
everybody.
people vote no,
If they vote
then
no, they
then,
vote no,
then,
but-
then you know I'm accepting of that. But you know, at least
I'm still going to drink as heavy as I ever did. And so are you.
One,
Here.
That's
two.
the
Boom,
thing,
right
though.
there.
Then
So-
everybody has that choice.
We gave it a run, right?
Right.
And we allowed people to have a voice in it. I think a lot of things should be brought to vote for the people. The people, it's their money, it's their society, it's their community. They should vote when you want to know if things should be brought in here.
Exactly.
And I
Don't
think,
you just love it when I get a good conversation started? So
well,
I've
that's-
even livened up the viewers tonight too. You know, I see David Hinton Jr. on here. I'm waiting for his reply there because he loves the local stuff. You know, we've been on the local there for a little bit talking different stuff. Clinic Pharmacy up here by Dr. Frederick's office. Is it already closed or is it closed? It's already gone. So just a week ago, I took her up there and got medication. It might have been for your mom, but it's gone now. Like it is gone, and they've moved everything to Walgreens, or I guess you can go tell them or wherever you want it to go. But I think majority of it went to Walgreens. So I mean, you know, on the local note, it's just I don't know. Things are shutting down here. And it's always going to be that. More and more things are going to shut down if you don't bring more and more revenue into this.
well,
county.
we want our kids to leave this community, go and get an education, and come back and be productive members of society here. The only problem is, and I say this, there's not a lot of opportunity for our kids to venture out and come back. There's a limited number of occupations. Most kids that leave here and they go to school, they come back and they either get employed in the school system, Mountain Rule Telephone, RECC, they work at the prison, they work in a couple of factories we got here, but there's not a lot. And there needs to be more job opportunities.
There has to be, yeah. I mean, we had an opportunity on the bid
And,
for that one.
and
big
I'm
old
not
thing
saying,
that they let
and I'm
go.
not saying with 100% certainty that if you pass a wet vote that will bring it. But to this point, Mike, we've not been able to get those businesses to come here. Something has to change if you want this community to grow and prosper, and you want people to come back and be important members of your society and make a change here. And like I said, I don't want people to get mad at me either way.
Well,
you
they're
know,
getting ready to.
well, I will. You know,
But- Because I'm just going to tell the audience now what me and you have talked about off the air. If it goes wet, me and Matthew are bringing a moonshine distillery into the county. It's going to be an absolute monster. So we're going to be competing with Mr. Hatfield and all them big moonshine guys up there. But well, anyway, I don't know about all that, but it sounded good.
You know, when I was growing up, and like I said, I don't hear this very often anymore. And it may happen. I don't know. Somebody bring me up to par. I know when I was growing up, there were people in the community that talked about bootleggers. There was a lot of bootleggers in this county. I don't. Like I said, I don't drink. It's not my cup of tea, but I don't look.
But you drink tea, right?
Yeah, but I don't look down on people that do drink simply because I'm not going to judge.
I would rather you drink than do some of the other craziness they're doing. But
It's not for me to judge you.
I'm actually surprised that that's the only bottle in here. But she ain't supposed to be in here, so she knows somehow she broke in the door. But one more thing. Is there anything more that you can think of? But I want to bring one more thing up locally right here, and that is on September 14th. And I've got it here over at the Hazel Green Food Project. Starting at 2 o'clock on that day, it's going to be at the Index Community Center. They're going to be giving out soup bean dinners. So you'll be able to go to the church, pick up the soup bean dinners, but there's a few of us, myself included, let me come back over, that's going to be delivering hot soup bean dinners to people. So if you know anybody in the communities or anything that needs one of these meals, I think I'm going to have maybe 100 or so loaded up. So if you know anybody that needs a meal, you can shoot it over to them, or let me know or whatever, and we'll make sure they get a hot meal that day.
Do we get a roll of toilet paper with that?
Yeah.
We'll need it.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got some we'll give you.
By the time that me and you get done with the Giovanni's hot
We will need 2 rolls
chicken
of
wing
toilet
challenge
paper
or whatever it is, we're
and
going to need a whole
stomach
bag
acid medicine.
we're going to need it all.
Acid reflux medicine.
So
Michael, we got some for him, don't we? Some toilet paper.
yeah, hell far. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. That's awful. And it's actually a big major name brand, but yeah, I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
I think John Wayne gonna win.
John Wayne be better than that. So anybody been hearing lately about monkeypox? What is it's today the 16th? So just yesterday, monkeypox was declared was it a global or national?
A global,
Emergency.
national, a global
So
emergency.
you have a
It's a
vote?
global emergency.
Do we have what?
Poke. I don't want to say a word because you get kicked off.
Well, no, right here. Here's how they test for it. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. So here's how they test for it. So you'll come up to your local doctor's office, I guess, or assume, and this is what it'll be. It should be coming up. There it is. So
They've declared it a global health emergency.
So I mean that's how it's going to be tested. So a couple years ago they were sticking things up their noses, and now they're sticking it in their ass. So it. I don't care. I'm sitting on here defending a wet vote.
Is that your picture?
That's me. That's me. I wanted to be the first one in the county. That's me. What are you talking about? That is me at Clinic Pharmacy just before it closed. That's why they closed
The
it.
hits just keep on coming. Well, let me say this.
We might be doing
Let me
that
say
when
this.
we go to the Giovanni's Hot Wing thing.
Very well could be. Let me say this. How convenient that 60 days, 75 days, between 60 and 75 days before the election, we're talking about another
Sickness again.
global health emergency.
Sounds like an election infection part deuce.
It's ridiculous.
Correct you are.
It's crap.
I mean, I won't, I don't want you to get kicked off here because somebody talks about,
Safe
the
vote.
possibility of collusion, things going on, but
You
there's-
said but. How did you got it right?
but there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and I for one will sit right here tonight and say that I was wrong. I was wrong, and I will admit I was wrong. I was wrong because I thought that when Governor Youngkin got elected to the state of Virginia, that he would be a bad influence for the people of Virginia. Come to find out, he's one of the most admirable men in the country right now because he just changed the election laws of the state of Virginia, where now Virginia, everything is by paper ballot.
Yes, sir.
Everything can and will be counted by hand in the state of Virginia, which means the possibility of influencing and changing something is not there.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that the other day. I've seen Arizona and a couple of other states that have passed that you have to have the ID to pass what I think in places like Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan,
Wisconsin.
some of the ones that we had problems with the last time. I think the National Guard, they should bring the National Guard in and surround those voting machines. And they don't move until every vote is through there. That way, if they start seeing some illegal craziness stuff going on, they jump in and they intervene. Or you can't really trust a lot of those local police forces because they're anti anyway.
And there are going to be people that'll say, "I can't believe that you think we should take 2 steps backwards and go to paper ballots." Well, I'm going to look at you and tell you that there was a country in South America, Mike, that had 27 million people vote. 27 million people. And they counted every vote in that country in 6 hours. 27 million people. So you can't ask for anything more fair.
No. And if they can
And if
do
the
it, we can do it.
candidate that you vote for loses, you have to accept it. Why? Because it is what it is. Black and white. Exactly right.
Uh, Dean says, "Will they use the same swab to check you for COVID also?" Dang, I hope not. Maybe they'll do the COVID one first. But no, I don't know. I mean, with the monkeypox thing, seemed like it came up back last winter or something. They started talking about it and everything, and now it's a global threat or whatever. It's just I don't know. It's one thing after another. Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, Mark. Do I have that on here? Let me pull that up here. The key to monkeypox is knowing the K is silent. So take the K out, and what do you have? Moneypox. There you go. So, that's all you really need to know right there. Is old moneypox. Because that's exactly. I know we're going to get kicked off of YouTube for that because they're going to say, oh, God, you are saying that the last one wasn't right. It's like, oh, you only made a couple $1 billion, off of the last natural emergency. So,
Well, I got one thing to say about that, whether it be monkeypox or, bird flu. If you don't stick shit up your nose, you're not going to test positive.
let me ask you, Mark, when you're talking about sticking things, how do you get monkeypox?
Well, I thought it was, they said when they started it was sexually transmitted at first.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's kind of odd to me that it's a global or national emergency because it's like
Sounds to me like
me and Matthew ain't never making no trips to Brokeback Mountain.
Well,
So,
you know,
I mean, it's like, why is it, at least with COVID, everybody could catch COVID, and pretty much before it was all said and done, I think most people had at least some version of it, This thing here, I mean, I don't really know how the world you can get this. So there's your risk of catching monkeypox. So you want to say it, ain't you? And the hits just keep on coming.
Well, I just find it odd that I read something.
And it's
like
only
I said,
election
like
years.
I said, I stumbled across it today that it was declared a global health emergency, and I thought, man, that's kind of odd. That
It was declared yesterday. I saw. That's just ridiculous. Here we are. What'd you say? About 75 days away from the election, and all of a sudden, here comes a possible another lockdown or another way, like you said, for them to get voters' information and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The whole monkeypox thing, I just don't. I don't know. But let's see here. If I got anything else on here, real quick. I've got that one right there. Getting ready to pull up that one there too. Trying to see what else. But it could be worse. We could live in Australia. Australians are required to submit ID to access the internet, and police must have access to their social medias. So it could be a lot worse here right now than what it is. I mean, we could be struggling like with the Australians there, but never know. I mean, we may be headed for that before too long.
Well, let's hope and pray that the American democracy in this country continues to reign supreme and that rule by the people and the voice of the people is the ultimate precedent that's upheld. Because, some of the things that I see uh, being contemplated and debated by some of these candidates make me think that our democracy itself is under attack. And, one of the greatest freedoms that we enjoy is the ability to have freedom of speech. We have the ability to speak freely. We have the ability to say what's on our mind. As long as it doesn't hamper, nor harm, nor insult, nor, publicly ridicule someone, it's a free choice. and we have the ability to do the others, but as an adult, there are consequences for those actions.
Well, it's just like these two. These two things right here are both being, what's the word? They're trying to be taken away, I guess, or demolished. Both of them, the flag and that nice looking creature right there. But I mean, that would be more of your Second Amendment rights. But I mean,
which has been
she's
said.
actually come out. Just I think we might have mentioned that
We
the
did.
last
We
time.
mentioned that she basically
That
stated
she
within the
basically
first
stated within the
100
first 100 days that she would be one way or the other. She'd be coming after your guns.
executive order
And
that if the legislature would not act, that she would implement and institute an
How can
executive
she do
order.
that when it's a constitutional right?
And Kyle Rittenhouse came out with the thing today. He said, "Hey, Tampon Tim, come and take it." And then you got this guy up here, David Leavitt, or whatever his name is, saying, "Did Kyle Rittenhouse just make a death threat to a presidential candidate's running mate? Isn't that a crime?" That's not a crime. He never won. He said, "Come and take it." Every one of us, except for Matthew, probably, but every one of us here, I know there's a few of them sitting right there, will agree with me and say, "You better bring yours when you come to take mine." That's not a threat. That's me saying you're not just going to walk in and say this is your gun. Oh, let me have that. You're just not going to just come and take it as easy as they think they are.
I think everyone should flood their Facebook posts and put "come and get it." If everybody on Facebook that agrees with the Second Amendment and everybody posts that, they can't arrest everyone. There's power in numbers, and people have to start exercising.
People need to understand what the purpose of the Second Amendment was. The founding fathers of America implemented the Second Amendment not to protect. It wasn't for you to protect yourself against perpetrators. It was to protect yourself against an abusive government, a government that can impose its will on you and take away your rights. Look at various countries around the world where socialism and communism basically prevails. They've taken away one of the first things they took away was freedom of speech. The second thing they took away was freedom of choice, and then they took away guns rights. And in every one of those countries, people have fought long and hard. Like right now, I want to say it was a country in there's a country in South America. Am I correct in it? Venezuela, where they had just had a recent election where the majority of the citizens voted for a candidate other than the candidate that was in power, and he basically shut the elections down and implemented his rule. Now, countries around the world have basically stated that they recognize the other political leader as the rightful winner of that election. 20 years have transpired since Venezuela turned socialistic, and what's happened
And if
is
you've
those
not
people
seen, just go down there and look at some videos or some pictures of that place.
and I don't know.
And it's actually starting here. We're
I don't.
watching a lot of California stuff recently. California, New York City, it's on the coast right now. A lot of these cities are following what looks like a communist, socialist state-like thing. So, I mean, it's a closing in, and it's getting, it's a coming fast.
I'm going to say this too, that England, Great Britain banned guns a long time ago, because I had soccer camp and I had Brits that came here and done soccer camp, and they're very words to me because they would always shoot guns when they would come over, and they were like, "Don't allow them to take your gun rights." Michael and I watched a video where they have no problem with guns over there because they don't have guns, but they have a severe issue with knives. So now they're looking at taking people's knives away. I don't care if someone wants to kill somebody or they want to do something. They're going to find the means to do it. Be it a cast iron skillet, are you going to ban those? Because those come in pretty handy too. Or rat poison. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you could drive.
Hot wings.
Fertilizer work for 10
Hot wings.
Hot wings.
I'm just telling you, Mike. I got a feeling that one
I
of
was
us
there
will be sick.
I was at Giovanni's the other day, and the table where they put you to do these challenges, the bathrooms are right next close to you. So, whichever way we got to go, maybe both of us.
See, I'm looking out for the common man here. Maybe you are to participate in this, and maybe not me.
Oh, no, it was asked that both of us go.
You're trying to destroy my stomach.
Larry said she also said that if you draw Social Security, she was going to cut it in half and give the other half to the migrants.
I got a fact check for you. For those of you that are out there watching us live tonight, I got a fact check for you. See if you can find the answer to this. Prior to 1983, there was no such thing as a tax on Social Security. Prior to 1983, there was no tax on Social Security. Huh? Yeah, I want you to look that up. Prior to 1983, there was no tax on Social Security. In 1983, the casting final vote to tax Social Security was voted by, anybody know? Who cast the final vote, the deciding vote to tax seniors and Social Security? That would be none other than Joseph R. Biden.
Imagine that. You are correct, Matthew. Before 1983, Social Security benefits were not taxed.
And I'm just going to tell you something. I firmly believe this, and I stand behind Donald Trump's initiative that if you work in this country and you pay taxes and you retire and you're a senior, you should not have to pay a dime of taxes. You've done your part.
Hold on a minute. They
I agree.
already tax your Social Security.
That's exactly right.
You're already taxed on that money that's put in your Social Security.
You shouldn't have to pay
Because
another
whatever
dime.
your gross pay is, that you
Right.
pay federal and state on, you also pay Social Security on. You've already been
Give you
taxed.
another fact check. Let's see if you can fact check this.
That pisses me off.
Fact check this. Here's another fact check. Tax on tips. Donald Trump's basically came out in his 20 core values of the GOP platform and stated that he would do away with tax on tips. Kamala Harris has since then plagiarized that idea because she doesn't have any ideas of herself of her own. She's not got an imagination. As a result of that, she's trying to steal everything that Donald Trump has come up with. And I'm going to tell you that who cast the final vote in several years ago to tax tips? And that would be none other than Kamala Harris.
Wow.
So I've given you two initiatives. One, go look and do your research. Social Security was not taxed until 1983. And after 1983, Joe Biden was the final deciding vote. And yet we're still dealing with issues with seniors. People being on fixed incomes, Mike. Social Security is an allotted certain amount based on what you've paid in. These people have done their country. They've done their country loyally. They've done their country by working. They are probably productive, hardworking American citizens that cared about doing what was right, paying their taxes, abiding by the law, and yet they're still paying taxes on it.
It's ridiculous.
65 years and older, and you can't work, and you're on a fixed income, you shouldn't be paying taxes. And you're going to say, well, what's the solution? The solution is quit giving all this money to all these countries and spend it on our own, and you'll see what initiatives we'll have.
Don't give them to
And I'm not saying that's a Democratic problem. I'm saying that's a legislative problem. Republicans and Democrats, both, they are the same, one and the same.
And don't give it to the illegals.
That's right. So if I gave you anything to inquisitively
All right,
challenge,
here's one that you sent that
I
said
sent that to
that
you
if,
too.
that if taxpayers, if only taxpayers voted, there would be your.
Look at the electoral count. It would be 441 to 206 if only taxpayers voted. But that ain't happening.
Larry said, "Have you seen Big K Family?" And I'm thinking he's talking Miss Harris. Yeah, they're all white, husband and both kids. I don't know if that's what he's talking about, but if that is what he's
I don't
talking
know what he's
about,
talking about.
I think that's what his kids are. I think that they're her stepchildren.
so I don't know, but I did see a picture of them. Yeah,
Well, she just came out with a new ad this week, Mike. Her ad says that she will secure the border if she's elected president. She will hire thousands of more border agents. She will crack down on human trafficking. She'll crack down on fentanyl.
but she's
She-
been vice president for 3.5
She
years.
implied that she will crack down. She will crack down on illegal immigration at the southern border. However, she has presided over the largest number of illegal immigrants ever recorded in the history of the United States coming across the border during the last 3.5 years. So the issue is, what have you done for me lately? What, you know, what that's exactly right. She's
Tackler.
crackling. She's not done anything to address that issue because, okay, they have arrested multiple people for one and sent them that have been sent back and been allowed to freely come back and have committed hideous crimes. I want to say they arrested someone in Boston this morning, immigrant, what's called the ICE, Immigrant and Customs Enforcement Agency, arrested a guy that had raped a young girl that had been sent out of here but got to come back. And the issue with that is innocent lives are being jeopardized. A lot of this is being swept under the rug, and that can't,
Yeah,
and
and then when they do catch them, like what you were saying, they deport them or do whatever the heck it is they do to them, and they just let them right back out.
or you've got certain politicians up in the Northeast that are saying that these people shouldn't even be tried. You got to try them. They committed a crime. Oh Lord, here we go.
Yeah, just off of camera there.
I wrote down some things. The Harris campaign got busted this week for silently manipulating news headlines in Google search results. Now, listen to this: altering news headlines to make it seem like major news outlets are on her side. They altered headlines, all paired with the paid for by Harris for president banner, were changed without the news outlet's knowledge. Nearly a dozen public public publishers were swept into this false headlines, including The Guardian, Reuters, CBS News, the Associated Press, and PBS. In a nutshell, what that means, Mike, is that the Biden administration is sponsoring the publication and changing what the publication headline is and making it appear that that's the headline they want to put out. Go look it up. It's right there for you to find. They got busted for altering news media headlines. I told you, they had to create the illusion that everybody likes her and that she's got a chance. She doesn't, in my opinion, have a chance.
So you're telling me
I don't think she does.
that when she has a rally at an airport, that so many people will attend that you won't even be able to see them.
Tens of thousands.
If you look on the right side of the engine here, you'll see the circle. And then over here on the left side of the stairs, you'll see the arrows. You see all of these people hollering, screaming, jumping with signs and everything. Yet, if you look at the reflections, there's nobody there.
So how did a crowd of tens of thousands of people disappear or get created?
They'd show up reflection.
Yeah, why is there no reflection?
Well, let me say something. You can say reflection. That's okay. And people are going to say, well, you're all crazy for thinking that. Well, there was a maintenance worker that worked at the airport that reported that there was nobody there. Nobody there.
You can see the building in the reflection. You do not see people.
So basically, the campaign is using what? Artificial intelligence, or AI. And AI, in my opinion, this is my opinion only, I think it's extremely dangerous. I think AI is dangerous, what they can do with it, and the ability to manipulate things, the ability to make somebody look like they did something that actually didn't do something. It's scary, folks. In my opinion, it's extremely scary.
Like, here's a picture, a different view.
Well, it's not only happening there, Mike.
Well, no, there was a sheet. Deb showed me a picture the other day of a rally in a stadium, and the stairwells changed colors. Like in one of them, you could tell that someone had like kind of just took 2 or 3 pictures and put them together, and they didn't line up. Like the rails was over here on one of them and over here.
But if you talk to somebody, if you talk to somebody that is extremely supportive of her, they will tell you that the media is blowing this out of proportion, that didn't happen. Well, let me give you something else she did. In addition to her campaign being busted for altering news headlines, the fact that she has manipulated AI to create massive crowds, Mike, in excess of tens of thousands at not only rallies, but as we can see here at an airport. In addition to that, she also made mention this week in a speech that she smoked weed in college and listened to Snoop Doggy Dogg and Tupac. Well, she graduated in 1996. Tupac's first album came out in she graduated in 1986. Tupac's first album came out in 1991. And Snoop Dogg's first album came out in 1993.
She was
So-
really high, didn't she?
So that's what I'm saying. So she, once again,
It took her that long.
has manipulated the truth. And people need to understand that. And I don't,
Shoot.
people need to understand that.
I have a problem with people saying that they're going to vote for her because she's black or because she's a woman.
Not even
And
black.
if you're a
You're
woman
going to see that video
and you
momentarily.
don't vote for her, then there's something wrong with you as a woman. For me, I don't base mine on gender. I don't base it on color. I base it on whoever I feel
The
will do the best
policy is
job.
what they're going to do.
You're going to see
And
that
the-
video
The facts
momentarily.
with them. For Kamala, she's done. What have they done for 3.5 years?
But right now, I'm going to play this video, and I want to show you how easy this could be done. Let's go back to the jet as she walks off onto the empty parking lot. Now watch here. Welcome to the world of artificial intelligence.
And like I told you, in my opinion, I think AI is
Because they
extremely
could-
dangerous. It's
They
extremely
could use
dangerous.
it in a bad way for people, and innocent people get accused of stuff.
Like I said,
Project.
I'm not a computer type person.
I love it. I've got AI everywhere. AI does everything for me.
They do
You know,
run some very
she-
good for us.
I just hope that when election time comes, people remember the struggle that they've had to endure for the last 3.5 years. That's the number one thing. The price of gas is extremely high.
That's
It
Trump's
has
fault.
been. Okay. Food and items that you purchase and you buy are out of control. I sent you a picture of the economy. Here you go. Baking goods up 27.2%. Butter and margarine 30.9%. Flour 37.5%. Cooking oil 38.3%. If you're voting and you're voting with your stomach,
Well, right here you go. I got you another one here. I put up here with yours. It's harder to see, but this one's got cream of mushroom, $2,099. Now it's $1.49. Cheerios was $2.99. Now it's $4.29. I mean, this breaks down some other things that normally we don't get to
I
talk
saw
about.
a video this week of a person that basically stated that the average person in the state of Tennessee spent $1,037 more per month on grocery bills.
Well, think about this, like
Just
Taco-
groceries. That's not
Me and Michael
gas.
were
It's
talking
not.
about Taco
That's not
Bell.
electricity.
How much was a taco back in the day?
Taco Bell,
Well, I remember.
$79.89.
Okay, hold up a second now. We're gonna go way back, Mike. We're going way back. When I went to college,
Let's get the
I
DeLorean.
lived on a meal of Taco Tico. There was a little place out in the mall out there, Taco Tico. You could get a taco for 35 cents. A taco.
Yeah, and how much is one taco now? We saw them today.
It's
$2,
$3,
$1.99, but now Taco Bell is like
Taco
2
Bell,
cans.
what you could get them for just a few years ago for, like I said, $79.89. They're $2 or more now.
Well,
just for a regular little soft
what's
taco.
the store? It's called Dollar something. Is it Dollar
Dollar
Tree?
Tree?
They had to change their name to $1.25 Tree.
Yeah.
Because the prices have went
But
up.
now here's another video, guys. This is what Deb's talking about, and this is actually Deb in disguise.
You're going to get her.
I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm stealing from Peer to pay Paul. And I know it's cyclical. I know, you can't blame the sitting president for everything that's wrong. can't blame past presidents for everything that's wrong, but come on, guys, we gotta do something.
Again, that was earlier this summer. I checked in with Michelle again after President Biden dropped out of the race.
How do you feel about the race now?
This is gonna sound crazy, but I feel better because I don't know. I said on my last interview, like, don't really hear from Kamala, but I think I'm with Kamala. I've watched her. I think she has to get her feet wet. She was only the vice president, but I think a woman running this country, oh, God, I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
So, there's somebody that just before she came out was all about Biden being the worst thing ever in the world. And now because she's a woman, we've got to have her because women have got to vote for women. So if I've got any women viewers out there right now, how many of you's voting for Harris because she's a woman? And I'm, if you don't want me to mention your name, just don't mention my name, but just put it there.
But if you go way back in biblical times, our problem started with women.
Well, Mark started about 20 years
Well,
ago.
I'm just gonna say
But,
that's why we're in the shape we're in, from
Yeah, Mark
local
started 21 years
to
ago.
national, is that we vote for reasons other than what you should
And it's
vote
driving.
for. We vote for friends. We vote for family. We vote for people because they're nice guys or nice women. We vote for them because they're women, because they're black. We've got to stop doing that and look at the policies. What they've proven to do. What has she done in 3.5 years? Someone say it.
I got 2 no votes so far.
You must be the media is believing that all women are going to vote for it too.
Well, I'm going to play this and
There
we'll
are a lot that
I want you to
Well, hold up a second. Okay, this lady said that she needs to get her feet wet. Correct? Is that exactly what she said? Okay, hold up. She said she
She
needed.
got her knees.
Okay, hold up. She said she needed to get her feet wet.
She wanted her to get back up.
She wanted to get her feet wet. Okay, I got some things for you. She was the deciding vote in the Inflation Reduction Act, and also she was the deciding vote in the American Recovery Plan. These were budget busters that have driven up inflation. They have driven it up. She was the deciding vote. She got her feet wet. Okay. This is a tax that people have to pay every time they go to buy something. It's set a record high for gas and grocery prices. Inflation is at an all-time high. We know at one time it was about
earlier this
9.
week it was reported it was the low.
I know they've reported that. All you have to do, now listen to me. All you have to do is go to the store and compare prices. If you start comparing prices, you'll see that they're trying to create this illusion that these problems are diminishing. These problems are not diminishing because they haven't come up with a solution. If you want to solve problems, quit printing money. Quit giving money to everybody except the American people.
I was going to say, or give it back to the American people where they can put it back into the economy.
Because you want the economy to thrive, you have to have people spending money. People are spending money, and people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're struggling.
American businesses with such scrutiny that you do not regulate foreign businesses, or that you allow China to package and send stuff over here that you would never allow an American business to package and make here.
Well,
okay, I want to say something else. They've sent the stock market into a nosedive. If anybody knows the stock market, last week the market hit what? It took it went down. It took 1,000-point deduction. You're going to wake up one day and the market's going to drop $10,000. Then it's going to go $20,000. Then it's going to bottom out, and you're going to say, no, there's regulations. What happens when they announce the failures of major banks in this country that are insolvent? They haven't announced. There are banks that are on the verge of going bankrupt. They're on the verge, which means if we've had Bank of America, you've had a major bank over in Europe, you've had several here. I've read, and like I said, this is things I've read. I don't believe everything I read, but some of the things I don't. What I do is I investigate further to see if there's anything there. The potential is that J.P. Morgan Chase Bank could potentially declare bankruptcy in the near future. Jamie Dimon, the CEO, has already announced that he's stepping down. You know, you got somebody that's one of the most powerful people in the world that's just stepping down from that position. That tells you that that bank very well could potentially be in some financial problems. And if that were to happen, Mike, and we have a financial crisis and a depression like the 20s, people are already struggling. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? You know, okay, my question is, and and like I said, I don't care who the candidate is. It matters from the perspective of this. Are they going to allow working class people and people in this country to get by and and more than just get by? Be able to live comfortably, not have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck, not having to worry about if I'm going to be able to pay my electric bill. Because what's happened to the cost of electric in this country in the last 3.5 years? She's made mention that she is going to ban fracking. That means all fossil fuels will be eliminated, which means, and she stated that in her speeches, you just got to go back and do a little research on her. But okay, we want to move to this Green Deal, clean air. I don't got a problem with clean air. I don't have a problem with that.
No.
If it will allow people to live longer, healthier, happier lives, I'm all for it. The only problem is it comes at a great cost. Go buy an electric vehicle, and if that battery malfunctions, the battery itself is roughly $30,000. So that's a cost. And you know how things are. With vehicles, you have malfunctions. You have unforeseen costs. You think you're getting ahead, and you get set behind. So, you know, she's had a chance. The price of energy in this country will quadruple under her leadership. What's happened over the last 3.5 years to the price of energy? It's quadrupled. So are they, and like I said, I don't want people to think that I'm picking on her because she's a woman. I'm not. I would love nothing more than a woman. I sit right here on this program and said, I would like to see that overcome. I did. But here's my thing. You're in office. You've got 3.5 years, Mike, and during that 3.5 years, you have refused to address issues that are affecting families.
But now you're going to fix them.
But millionaires and billionaires are not affected. Why? Because they have an enormous amount of money. But most people are not millionaires and billionaires. Most people are struggling to be able to pay ends meet,
The problem is that we listen to these promises people make and nobody checks
They're false
out
promises.
whether they're.
All I know is this: during Trump's administration, I had $11,000 more in my pocket every year.
We watched
I had
the program
11,000.
today.
The country was energy independent for the first time in the history of the United States. The economy was thriving. People were working. Unemployment was at an all-time low.
Okay,
You
an
had
example
you
of
had.
that,
I mean, I can go further. You want to talk about
Matt, you're
minority
saying Trump's
issues?
going to be a dictator.
Trump
He
is
was
not going to
in
be a dictator
4
because
years.
he had 4 years and he did not dictate. Now, was there potential problems during his administration? Yes, but there's been problems during every president's
I just think
administration.
they need to base it on facts. It's like we watched a program today with Gavin Newsom about this. How many year plan was it, Michael, that they were going to get the homeless off the street and stuff? Was it 20-year?
Yeah, boy.
Or 10-year plan? It was a
I think
10-year
it's
plan,
10.
and it's been 20 years, and you still have
It's worse.
It's worse. Oakland is a trash hole. If you actually go there and look, the pictures they present.
So this is her plan. I want you to listen to what she says her plan is here. See if anything sticks out to you.
Everyday prices are too high. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. The bills add up. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes, prescription medication, the cost of food. A loaf of bread costs 50% more. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's a serious housing shortage. The price of housing has gone up. It's too difficult to build, and it's driving prices up. It is out of reach. The size of down payments have gone up as well. Costs are still too high. There's not much left at the end of the month, and prices are still too high. Everyday price.
And you're responsible for it. You are the vice president. You see what I'm saying?
But
She's
the
standing
media,
right there saying
wants to paint this portrait and picture that she is second in command and that she doesn't have any power and that she doesn't have any say on policy.
But she just
They are a
contradicted
team.
what the
They are a
president said she's
team.
saying.
They are the president and the vice president of the United States. They have been elected to the highest positions in our country to elect. They're elected to represent the people, to create policy for the best interests of the people. You were talking about Gavin Newsom. All I heard was Gavin Newsom got a chance to be the next president of the United States. He has the highest poverty rate in the nation in his state. Highest poverty rate. He has the highest gas taxes in the nation in the state of California. He has the highest state income tax in America. And he has a record homelessness record. He has the record for homelessness, which is out of control in his state.
That show that you're talking
Where
about.
is she from?
The state.
She's from California.
The video you're talking about with Newsom today was it was about violence and homelessness in Oakland. Oakland looks like something from a video game. Do you think violent crimes are down? Do you think violent crimes are down?
Do I think violent crimes are down? I think violent crimes are on the rise.
All right.
I think if you go to the city of Chicago, the homicide rate there is extremely out of control. I think these big cities are seeing a rise in crime because you've got people in positions that are saying that these people shouldn't even be put on trial for the crimes that they've committed.
Well, listen to this.
Violent crime has plunged to its lowest ever in almost 50 years.
Almost 50 years, violent crime has plunged.
That's not what we saw today.
Ignorance that they've
One lady
even.
said-
I thought Circleback Saki was a plumb idiot until this woman came along. You know, I mean,
like it's such a normal thing for them. Like
you just go on there every day and just make shit up.
a lady's
And you know, it's.
out. She said it's happened 3 or 4 times. I mean, it's just like it's a way they expect it. Don't leave anything in your car because your window's gonna get busted out at night. I mean, now what kind of life is that? Will not happen in the country here.
You might, but they might not.
It won't happen twice. No.
But I mean, there
Not
was
in a small town.
there was some other things here, but it's just.
Well, I got an idea for them to fix them. Have new cleaner iron. Stop with the damn cream trails. You know.
Matthew, my thing is that Michael, did you not just say a while ago that Kareem said something about whatever her name is, said something about that inflation was down and all this other stuff? But you have the vice president
Just this week alone, it was announced. It was even on our local news that it was it had reached the low. Now it's like very, very low. But then that's just within the last 24, 48 hours of the calculator on there, basically talking about everything that's going on in the country right now that she has some form of responsibility for.
Half of it. Sleepy Joe might have the other half, but she got half of it.
Crazy.
Trying to see. There she is again saying that the crime is down. I'm trying to see if I had that where they were talking about the inflation. God. I don't know what this is, but I'll just paint this on.
You got a toilet? You got a bathtub? Yeah. I got fucking jugs of piss. I got piss.
I don't know what that is, but that's some of Matthew's friends there.
Who? Ain't mine.
Whatever the heck that is. But
now I was trying to look it up. The crime rate in America.
Oh, I love this. Anybody, I know there's a lot of Chucky Schumer fans out there. I love this. Let's see if I can get this back here. He was approached at a parade, and he's all smiles until this guy said it. So listen here. Maybe.
Hey, Trump, you know what the Americans actually hate your cuts, right? Because you're a scumbag. You know that, right? You're New York.
He was all smiles until he said you're a scumbag. Oh my God. We lost everything here. I don't know where that was, but I did see something the other day. Oh, I didn't know if you saw this or not. But your old boy, Fauci, had COVID again.
33rd time he's had COVID.
Sure did.
Saw it.
Just 3 days ago, 4 days ago,
Yep.
had COVID again. But he's had his third injection, vaccinated and boosted a total of 6 times.
Wow.
And he's had it.
Still walking.
And he's still got it. He's still.
Somebody needs to cut his vocal cords out.
They have changed that name.
Find it funny that this picture is gone. They actually showed the closing ceremonies of the Olympics, and it was almost as bad as the opening ceremonies. Did you see it?
I did.
Yeah, it says right here it's been disabled in response to a report of a copyright.
I sent you pictures.
But I think I do have
sent
a
you
picture
pictures.
here.
I sent you pictures.
Right there we go.
I sent you
Off to the side here. So you'll see the opening ceremony, and then here on the side here you'll see.
Well, they made a mockery of Christianity at the Olympic Games. Here you can see the Last Supper painted by Leonardo da Vinci, and you can see the representation of the Last Supper that you have at the top. Well, the closing the closing ceremony featured a golden Voyager descending from the skies. You can see right here a picture of this golden Voyager descending. This is reminiscent of Lucifer's fall from heaven. With his leg bent, positioned like the hanged man, a symbol of ultimate surrender in the occult tradition. So you've got the mockery of Christ at the Last Supper, and now you've got the recreation of the fall of Lucifer to the earth. Now, what I'm going to tell you is, here is the guy that created all this.
I saw that guy before.
This is the artist behind the Paris Olympics opening and closing ceremonies. Does anybody know what happened to him?
I'd say he's dead.
Oh, he's alive.
Oh my goodness.
He's alive.
He's probably in America then.
But what I am going to tell you is
Is he here in West Liberty?
that anytime you mock Christ and you mock Christianity, something probably going to happen to you.
See the one got struck by lightning?
He got struck by lightning.
Oh, okay.
He was hospitalized after a freak lightning strike. There is a verse in the Bible, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, that says, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever one sows, that he will also reap." You make fun of Christ, you make a joke of Jesus and the disciples at the Last Supper, you show a representation of Lucifer falling from heaven, and what happens to you?
Well, if you remember, right after the Last Supper thing and the opening ceremony, the next night in Paris, the power outage. That's why I text Deb, because I was in Florida. I text Deb and I said, God wins again. It's like, you keep messing around, you're gonna fear it eventually. He's gonna get you. And I don't know. I never watched the first bit of the Olympics and don't really care.
I never watched not one ounce.
I couldn't even tell you. Besides that boxer, that thing that we was talking about, that's the only thing, and that's because we had it as a story on here. But I don't know.
I did hear something about Simone Biles that she gave like $7 million or something there to her campaign. Imagine that.
Like I said, I didn't watch any of the Olympic games. I
didn't either.
I just didn't get into it.
Catch that headline. So I guess she endorses Harris.
Yeah, well. Let's see here. What have we got here? Oh, this should make every American feel awesome. Just this week alone, there was videos, but this is a picture of all of our military equipment over in Afghanistan. Was it Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Of them having a parade with all of the military equipment, the billions of dollars, wasn't it, that we left over there, having a parade using their equipment.
Third anniversary.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I said, that should be a slap.
August 30th, 2021, the withdrawal from Afghanistan, the biggest debacle in the history of the United States. We left behind $85 billion worth of military equipment and made the Taliban the most fully equipped military on the face of the planet. And here you see, August 15th, 2024, the Taliban celebrating with a parade with American military equipment. Extremely sad.
That should be a slap in the face, not only to the American people, but to the American military, because, I mean, we're supposed to have the strongest military in the world, and yet we've got, the Taliban in Afghanistan having parades, driving through the streets over there in U.S. military equipment. It's...
Well, going back to earlier, you talked about Kamala being a nominee. But what, there 9 states that said that they can't change the ballots for her to be the nominee after Biden won the primary?
There are several states that cannot change the ballot unless the 25th Amendment comes into play, or death of the president, which means presidential succession takes place. So you have several states that Nevada is one of them. I want to say Michigan is one of them, and I'd have to go back and look, but I know those are two particularly. Nevada is one of them. It has the 25th Amendment has to come into play, or death of the current president, and we don't wish that on nobody.
No, but I was thinking there was 9 states altogether that said they couldn't, something like that.
Well, if you remember January 6th of 21, now they're saying that if Donald Trump wins,
Jamie Raskin,
in November, that when it comes the November 6th tally, and where he gets approved, that they'll refuse it. That they'll refuse to certify? They'll refuse to certify the election if Trump wins. So I'm thinking, that was, I don't remember that ever being mentioned in 2021. It was just he wanted it to be. Yeah, I mean, I think he probably didn't want it certified, but he wanted it to be looked at into a little bit more depth to say, before we certify it, let's look and see if anything happened. And then the whole the whole riot thing happened out there. But here we are months away from even the election, so you're even further away than January. And now they're already saying that if Trump wins, they won't even certify.
So what does it sound like? Who's the dictator?
Right. But I mean, we've also, and I'm sure you got some of these notes, they're also refusing to let Trump postpone his September the 18th trial. He goes to sentencing on September the 18th, and they're, at this point, the way I'm understanding it is they're expecting to put him in prison that day. They're hoping for it, and that's why they said they're prepping Harris for that, because they're going to put him in. I don't know what they think if they put him in prison, that all of a sudden the race is over, but I don't. That's the way I've understood it. Is
like Cuba, Fidel Castro, put your opponent in prison.
So you think ostracizing your political opponent doesn't happen in America? Well, last time we were on this program, I mentioned a representative from the state of Tennessee named Andy Ogles, who had introduced articles of impeachment against Kamala Harris. Look it up and see if it hasn't happened. The FBI raided Andy Ogles' house last week. He's a mega conservative congressman from Tennessee. He's the author of the impeachment articles that were to oust Kamala Harris from her position due to her inability to carry out her duties as czar border and control the mass immigration problem at the southern border. And now suddenly the FBI is after him. Is this what we can expect from political enemies of those in power? They weaponize these 3-letter agencies to go after their political opponents.
As long as you got the DSRs in the swamp. Most of them's been in there for 40 years. On both sides.
Both sides. You're right.
It's crazy. Here's breaking news happening right now. The WHO has reportedly instructed world governments to prepare for lockdowns due to the monkeypox outbreak.
Ready. Buckle up, buttercups. Here we go.
Here comes the unemployment, baby. So
You know, King Andy, you'll be right on top of that.
Oh yeah.
Dang, y'all, that's big news right there. That's big. That's big. It's big.
What is that? Oh, that's
Well, that's
that
Mr.
Waltz.
Walls.
Yeah,
We haven't talked about Mr.
we ain't
Walls.
really got into him yet, so we can go ahead and dive on in if you'd like.
I'm good. You just direct me and we go, baby.
Well, okay. So I'll direct you. Then we'll hit in there. So when it comes to Mr. Walls himself, he is the governor of Minnesota, correct?
Correct.
And he was, a lot of the big ringleader behind supporting a lot of the BLM and Antifa rights. He was putting money into it, everything. But who exactly is Tim Walz? Besides the governor, let's go down. Between both of us, we'll dive down and go through a little backstory of Mr. Waltz here. So I see you got some. So I see. Looks like funded BLM rights was right at the top of your list over there.
Got about 23 things that would define who Tim Walz is. He funded Black Lives Matter's riots in 2020. We know that during Black Lives Matters, rioters looted and wrecked Minneapolis, including the Minneapolis Police Department. He did not deploy the National Guard against these rioters. We know that his daughter actually leaked the National Guard's plan online. We know that for a fact. I sent you a picture of the fact that Mr. Walz sent a letter to the Biden administration in 2021 urging Biden to bring Afghan refugees and even offered to house them in Minnesota. He offered to provide a ladder to illegal aliens so that they could climb over Trump's border wall. He signed a bill in Minnesota that provided driver's licenses for illegal aliens. I mean, that in itself is not, in my opinion, democratic. Why? Because that's something that's afforded citizens. You're not a citizen of the United States. You shouldn't be having access to privileges and rights that are reserved to those people. And people may disagree with that. We know that Tim Walz has zero limits on abortion bans, even including allowing abortions to take place even after the baby has already been born, late term abortions. He changed the state of Minnesota's flag to resemble the country of Somalia. And we know that there is a legislator from there that has pledged allegiance and support to Somalia. She said that the United States government should do what the leaders of Somalia tells it to do. And she was just recently reelected in the state of Minnesota. He shut down. He was part of the mass governorship in America. They shut down schools, shut down churches and businesses. He's also known for having instituted mask restrictions on his citizens. I don't know if people are aware of this, but he also had police officers go into communities and take paintball guns and shoot people when they were not abiding by COVID lockdowns and not being in their house. He started a lockdown snitch hotline and encouraged people to call the government on their neighbors when they saw them mowing their lawn without a mask. I mean, I thought if you went outside and you're by yourself,
you were safe.
If you were safe.
I thought the mask was just within 6 foot distance or whatever.
It was 6 foot and 3 foot.
Here's one people may not know about the gentleman. He oversaw the largest COVID fraud scheme in the country with $250 million plus that got stolen and reappropriated to a foreign country to help kids over in Somalia. What in the world are we sending money to Somalia if the money is being appropriated for COVID mandates and restrictions?
What's his fascination with Somalia, though? Are you changing that flag and everything?
Well, he squandered a $20 billion budget as the governor and then raised the taxes of the people of Minnesota. He is extremely supportive of sexualizing your children at school. And what I mean by that is he believes it's ridiculous to ban certain books excuse me, that advocate sexual practices. He wants sexual practices to be viewed by kindergartners and first and second and third graders.
Doesn't he back the transgender children without the parents' consent?
That is true.
Yeah.
He supports men and women's sports. I mean, he was accused of embellishing and selectively omitting facts about his military career. That's come under question. His congressional coin, I sent you a picture of that congressional coin. Tim Walt's House of Representative congressional coin has a misrepresentation because it has the wrong rank on it. He didn't even know what rank he was. He claims he's a rank E9 when he was actually an E8. And hey, I say this, I'm appreciative of his military service to this country. But if you're going to report something, you need to report it what, Mike?
Correctly.
Accurately.
Accurate, correct, yeah.
JD Vance called him out on it, stolen valor.
And that's the problem is he claimed that he carried weapons in war. The Washington Post reported that he was never in war. He incorrectly claimed that he went to war. He misrepresented his rank. Stolen valor. Soldiers accused him of quitting on them. They were getting ready to be deployed to Iraq, and he just up and quit. I sent you a picture of Mr. I sent you a picture of him, I think, if I ain't mistaken. Most people don't know this about him. Here's
Right
a good
there?
one. Yeah, here's a good one. He got a DUI in 1995 for going 96 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour speed zone.
And
lied to the police about being deaf in an attempt to avoid arrest. He has ties to communist China. And you're going to look at him and say, you're crazy. I can tell you that he received a special work visa and was a teacher in communist China dating back to 1989 when Tiananmen Square massacre took place. He went to China every year between 1996 and 2003. He spent his honeymoon in China with 60 Americans. He admits that he's been to China over 30 times. He established an exchange program with his wife to take students to China, funded by the Chinese Communist Party. He reportedly failed in 2021 a security clearance. They didn't report a whole lot on this. You can look this up, Deborah. He reportedly failed a security clearance in 2021 for a job with the Biden administration due to foreign influence. Tim Waltz. Yep. He claims to have been fascinated with China since his childhood because he remembers seeing pictures of Mao Zedong. Mao.
Biden's what?
Huh?
Say it again.
He was in 2021. He failed a security clearance for a job with the Biden administration for foreign influence, due to foreign influence. So he has some ties to the Chinese Communist Party, and he is an advocate and a proponent of socialism. He praises it. He is remembered for having said this, and you can look this up. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. So, you know, if you're talking about Kamala, she's the most liberally minded senator in the Senate. They voted her there. This guy is probably right out there on the same.
Well, what a lot of people don't know about this guy too, and this is in a newspaper article, and it says, "Stomach pumped after neighborly dare goes wrong." Well, if you look closely over here, I don't know if it'll let me zoom in or not, but you could see in some of the writing there that it says Tim Waltz, and you read that article. I don't know what exactly that prank was, But if you read that article enough, it tells you that Mr. Waltz had to have his stomach pumped to get horse semen out of it. So I have no idea. I don't even want to see the newspaper article, but that's what it says, and that's an article right there. I mean, it's he's a very sick individual, if that is anything to do with it. Plus, Melina actually just disappeared, but she actually sent a video while she was gone, and I want you all to pay close attention to this video while it's playing.
Not asked this yet. I'm going to get myself
Okay,
with this sign.
So I'm going to leave this right here where it's at just a second. And if you see the sign in the background, it says Revolutionary Communist of America. Yet he goes over with her and takes a picture of it with the picture. I mean, seriously? Communists? I mean, here we go. I mean, we watched a video the other day. It was a little quiz-like thing that you can do on TikTok or something. And it asked what the rules or whatever. And it was communists and socialism was America's. I don't know. She's lost over there. But anyway, it said America went by socialism and communism. When that was one of the answers to the questions, was what are the laws of America or something like that. And so, I mean, somewhere along the way, they're already believing this is coming true. And
so, Matthew, you're correct that he was denied security clearance for Biden administration, and it says they possibly due to him taking numerous trips to China from 1996 to 2003 with some kind of work visa he was granted in China. Some red flags.
Well, like I said,
you went to sleep somewhere else.
There's a large number of people leaving the state of Minnesota. I mean, and you're seeing a large number of people leave states like California. They're leaving states like Minnesota. They're leaving New York. What's happening is because the policies in those states are becoming more controlling and giving people less rights. And as a result of that, people want the right to be and live the way they choose to live. So you can see Minnesota's population is declining simply because of the policies of Tim Walz. Now, I know there's going to be people out there on the other side say you guys are making this stuff up. And, well,
look it up.
All you got to do is go do your research.
You just asked me to look up. I found.
Look the horse semen thing up.
Hell, I don't know nothing about that.
I don't know if that's legit or not. I don't know. But I'm just saying it's an article and it looks like a newspaper article. And it's got his name and picture on it. I don't know. I mean, hell, we can put me and Matthew's picture on America's Most Wanted, I guess. Which we probably are. But that's probably no joke.
But what the media has done is they painted this picture that Kamala is the heir apparent and that she is going to correct all these problems. And they're painting this picture that she's extremely, extremely popular. She has the lowest approval rating of any vice president
in history
of the United States. So that ought to tell you.
And now she's the most popular candidate.
That ought to tell you that they're playing a little bit of trickery with you. Trickery. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Americans are very, very easy to fool. Why? Because if you hear it enough, you'll start to what? You'll start to believe it.
Obama said that himself.
And what's happening is people are starting to believe that because the media keeps telling them in these polls that she's leading and that she is going to beat Trump in an election. Well, Trump said he would debate her and she didn't want anything to do with him. Well, I think they have 3 debates scheduled. September the 4th, Fox News is the first one. I mean, my first question would be to Kamala Harris would be, you had 3.5 years as the border czar to fix the problem. You did not even visit the border. But her response on NBC News was, we visited the border. We visited Europe. You know, she's not been to the border, folks.
I still
She didn't go
understand.
see the apparent problems. The problem we've got is our immigration
There's
and
a
custom.
difference between going to the border and going to Texas.
That's right. El Paso, you know, there are places that you could go in Texas and visit parts of the border, but you need to go to Eagle Pass. You need to go where the problem is the most apparent and see the immigration and customs enforcement agents and the border patrol and the lack of enough people to enforce the issue.
I can understand people being manipulated by media on that. What I don't understand is how people are being manipulated to believe that the economy is better than what it is, or that it's not Kamala and Biden's fault. I just don't
If you
understand that.
tell me long enough, I will believe it.
But you go to the grocery store.
I know that, but people are easily
We know
tricked.
that.
We know that.
We know that.
But
what he's saying is there's people right outside the door here that don't. Or they probably do, but they don't want to hear it enough to the point because they only know to vote one way. We all know those people. You know, they're only going to vote one way no matter what.
We're so party oriented rather than voting for what's correct. I wish there was not even a party system. I wish it was
Just like I said there a few weeks ago, I wish they'd do away with the party. Right here's another big problem. I'm basically using this one because I know Aiden's in the room. Bryan Cranston, who everybody would know from the hit show Breaking Bad, who played Walter White, says he's buying a one-way ticket to Canada if Donald Trump wins in November. So sorry, Aiden.
I wish they would buy all them tickets.
But I mean, how many have they said that they're leaving? Hell, at this point, we're going to have a major decrease in population if Trump wins because they're all going to leave, hopefully. But they all said that the last time. They never did.
no, because if you go to Canada, you might be under socialistic policies. Justin Trudeau is a socialist. Everybody, and they'll tell you he's not. But the people of Canada know about his Darkarian restrictions that he's placed on those people. Go there, live there. They'll tell you that. And the price of goods there are out of this world.
You were talking earlier, which I brought it up here. I'm going to bring them back up, but this is what Trump released earlier this week as his 20 core promises to make America great again. You know, and there they are. I mean, give or takes, you know, feel however you want to feel about them. Let's see.
I've got them all.
You've got them? Okay, so you've got them all. They're right here on the screen as well.
Number one, seal the border. Stop the migrant invasion. Only allow those people that have proper authorization and documentation to come to this country. That doesn't mean that you stop them totally. You just force them to follow the policies and procedures that are in place. Don't allow people that have been deported and come back that are committing crimes, dangerous, coming in this country, unvetted, unchecked. You know, okay, here's what's funny. Okay, the very people, I'll give you this, the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, are against voter ID. They're against it, Mike. Okay, they're against voter ID. But if you go to one of her rallies, to get in one of her rallies, you have to show a what?
Okay.
You got to show an ID. So they contradict themselves. That's contradictory. Okay, to get to my rally, you got to show an ID. But to vote, we don't want you showing ID. Don't make no sense. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Larry says if she wins, he's moving to Will Rim.
Where's Will Rim?
Other side of Adel Hill.
Okay. But, you know, if you look at the core values that Trump has stated as his GOP platform, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. You have to clean the border up. Because if we don't clean the border up, we're a country that is in jeopardy of being overtaken by anybody and everybody. End inflation. Make America affordable again. The key word there is make America affordable again. Energy independent. Reduce energy costs. Reduce the price at the pumps. Reduce the price of goods at the grocery. If you do that for most working class families, working class families, people will have more pride in their country because they're going to spend more money. The economy is going to flourish. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world. Why? A lot of people think drilling for oil has environmental hazards. The only problem is you've given the EPA, a three-letter organization, too much power. And as a result of that, they've implemented all these restrictions. And these are good-paying jobs. Good-paying jobs. We can become energy independent, not have to rely on a foreign source for anything, which means job creation, more money, plentiful, the economy. Yeah, am I going to tell you that is the Green New Deal efficient? It may allow kids, as Kamala Harris, I'm borrowing her words, she said in a speech, we need to invest in cleaner air, cleaner energy, population reduction. You can look this up, and people so that kids can breathe healthier. Well, there's some issues there. There's some issues.
Other countries performing that? Because I'm going to say, if the air has to be
Okay,
clean,
why are these people that are talking about cleaner air using private jets to get to and from all these global meetings? They drive illustrious automobiles and motorcades.
SUVs, maybe big SUVs.
We need to stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. It needs to be built and made in America, and there needs to be pride in American-made products. We need to defend our Constitution. We need to defend the Bill of Rights and our fundamental freedoms, such as freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, which is under attack, the right to bear arms. Those are things that our founding fathers created 230 plus years ago that have stood the test of time, but yet right now they're under attack. Large tax cuts for workers. No tax on tips. No tax on Social Security.
How about tax on foreign income that's made here in the U.S. and also foreign businesses pay the same taxes as American businesses? That would be a major one.
Let me give you another one. Here's one I like. Prevent World War III. People are not aware that there is a lot of military conflict going on in the Middle East. While the rest of the world is watching countries single-handedly, one right after another, join this conflict, the United States over here is talking about gun confiscation. It could come to the United States. I hope it doesn't. I hope it can be resolved. I think Trump can bring peace. I think Trump will set these leaders down, and he will come up with economic sanctions and political sanctions and do what is necessary to preserve and prevent a world escalated war of World War III magnitude. What are these political leaders doing right now to solve that? They're not doing anything. They're more worried about issues that are, and I'm not saying guns are not dangerous. I don't think guns kill people. I think people kill people. People make a rational decision. You said it earlier. You can kill somebody with a frying pan. If there's a means, you're going to find the way. You'll find the way. But peace, preservation of peace. You can lay down at night not having to worry about countries attacking one another. For 4 years, we didn't have a war in the world, a war at all. You end the weaponization of government against the American people. People speaking out. Good example. I talked about Andy Ogles, the representative from Tennessee, who drafted the articles of impeachment against Kamala for her failures at the border, yet the FBI has raided his home. Why is he being attacked? Because he sees her inabilities to perform her job. If you don't perform your job, Mike, or I don't perform my job, there's consequences. The consequence should be the American people should vote her out. Not let's go after these people that are speaking out. They have the right to their opinion.
You have a one-sided justice system. Lady Justice is supposed to be blind, but if you look at January 6th, and even with Trump, look at how many things he's been ridiculed and targeted for. You have Biden who says Trump needed a target on his head. Trump gets shot at. But that's not a big deal. We don't investigate that. We're investigating it, but there's no rushing it. January 6th was just like, I mean, they have scrutinized anyone who was in that area. I know people who were in that area. They weren't part of any kind of coup or anything like that. A lot of people were in that area, but they scrutinized them and their family. Family that wasn't even there, I heard, was getting strip searched and stuff at airports just because of relationships with them.
You wasn't getting a monkeypox vaccination, was you, Chick?
Wow. He got that through a drive-thru.
Well, I ain't gonna show it again right now because we still got to keep these 20 things on right now.
But let me add to that. One of Trump's policies is stop the migrant crime epidemic in this country, demolish foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, lock up violent offenders. There needs to be more consequences for people's actions. When people die as a result of certain things, the penalty should be very severe. And I think we want to combat the drug epidemic, then we have to go after the people that are creating that are aiding that.
Deterrence. There has to be. People don't like to use the word punishment because they think it's negative, but I'm gonna tell you what. There was a couple punishments in my childhood that had deterred me from doing a lot of things. So,
we need to rebuild our cities. Trump has talked about rebuilding cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Safe is the key word. Cities like Chicago, we need to reduce the crime of African American on African American. We need to go into these cities and try to create situations where the population and the populace can get along, and we reduce racial issues in this country. Strengthen and modernize our military. Our military needs to know that one, you have the backing of a commander in chief that will, one, financially support you, two, stand by you and be your biggest proponent. Why? Because our national defense is vital. You get to lay down at night because these people sacrifice their lives, their time, their time away from their families for you. When you sacrifice, you're willing to sacrifice your life for another man or woman's freedom, you should be put on a pedestal. Trump has talked about keeping the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Right now, the U.S. dollar the purchasing power is minimal at best. We need it backed by, between me and you, something that can be of value: gold, silver, platinum. In addition to that, Trump and Elon Musk talked about a digital currency, another type of currency that can be used to make purchases globally that is powerful as well. Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare. You got people on fixed budgets, Mike, fixed incomes. They're older. They can't work. They don't need to be paying taxes. And Trump has even made mention of this with fight for and protect Social Security, Medicare with no cuts, no taxes on these people, and no changes to the retirement age. The Democrats have talked about how they want to raise the retirement age to 70. You don't want to work till you're 70 if your body can't physically handle that. You want to retire and be able to enjoy life. 65 is old enough, Trump has made mention in one of his policies that he's targeting and canceling the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. As I said, these electric vehicles are at a great cost. It costs more to recharge an electric vehicle than it does to fill up a car with gas. I mean, just go and do it and you'll see, talk to people that have them. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory. Critical race theory says that above and beyond your race determines your success in the world. No, what determines your success in the world is your ambition, your desire, your want, whether you're hungry and humble, and the ability to work hard. You can accomplish anything you want. It's not determined by critical race theory. In addition to that, other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. You talk about kids. There's a certain age that kids become introduced to ideas that involve sex. that doesn't need to be in kindergarten. It doesn't need to be in the first, second, or third grade. What's happening is they're trying to normalize this stuff, Mike. And if they normalize it, then it becomes a custom. People come to accept it. There's a certain age and an age of accountability. For each of us, that age of accountability is different. And I think, when you push these things on people, it's only going to create problems. In addition to that, just got a couple more here. Keep men out of women's sports. I sent you a picture of a vote here that took place. You can see here protection of women and girls.
Yeah, and you see who voted.
219 Republicans, yay. 203 Democrats, nay. Title IX has been abolished during the Biden administration. It was implemented to try to provide equity for females and a certain sense of equality for females in sports. And now what's happened is, with most recent issue in the Olympic Games, I have 2 daughters. And I love my daughters. And I think my daughters should have an equal playing field. They should be able to compete against people that are of genetic nature similar to them. I'm not saying that you eliminate sports for people that are transgender. You create a category for that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But what people are going to say is that you are trying to identify them as male or female. During the Olympic Games, I read something and it made a lot of sense. And I'm going to read this to you, Mike. It's about the Algerian boxer, and there was another boxer from Taiwan that had XY chromosomes. And you had a lot of people that were on both sides of the fence. You had some saying that that is wrong. You had others saying that they should be able to participate. Well, here in America and around the world, we were currently arguing that people born with an XY chromosome pair can be a biological female. Once they convince you in this country that XY can be female, you're completely disjointed from reality, and there isn't any programming you won't accept. Think about that for a minute. So you're being programmed to believe that and like I said, I'm not identifying those people and saying anything bad about them, because it is what it is. You're born with an XY or you're born with XX, and it identifies you. Trump also, Mike, go back up here. Secure our elections, same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, proof of citizenship to vote. As I said, the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris is requiring people to show an ID to get into a rally, but won't require an ID to vote in some of these states.
Yeah,
Kentucky's pretty secure, I think, because every time I go to vote, they always ask me.
Yeah, you have to
regardless,
scan your ID.
Yeah, scan it. They ask, and I got no problem with that. Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Some of these things are just common sense. Common sense. And last but not least, unite our country by bringing it to a new and record levels of success. We got some issues in this country. I'm not saying they're right, they're wrong. We need to come up with solutions. But we got some economic issues that are affecting us as well. We've got a mass migrant problem. We've got right now, this country has issues with sports equity and gender issues. We got to come up with solutions. We've got to, and one of the things, in my opinion, is we need to look above for answers. I know a lot of people may think that's wrong, me saying that. Look to God, but
no, you're right.
There's a scripture in the Bible that says, it's Romans 12:21. It says, and correct me if I'm wrong here, look this up. Romans 12:21. You with me? Hey, Romans 12.
I don't think nobody's with you.
Okay. It talks about,
they're all out of it.
Talks about Romans 12:21. Talks about overcoming evil. Here we go.
Do not be
And
overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
there you go. There you go. Read that again.
Somebody was listening to you.
Read that again.
Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
That's right. We got to have a lot more good in us. We got to respect each other. And just because we have issues in this country doesn't mean we can't respect people. We can, but we need to respect. Women have fought. Giving a good example, we fought long and hard for women in this country to be equatable to men. We know there's areas where women still are not equal to men, but with the abolishment of Title IX, in my opinion, it's an attack on women. I mean, it's almost like they don't value their importance in society, and that can't happen. You got to value everybody for what they are. And like I said, I don't have a problem with people that are members of the LBGQ community. I don't have a problem. But as I said, the media creates those problems, I think, in my opinion.
You're right.
And that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right, Colin Ray. Hop in there.
But there's going to be other people. There's going to be people on the other side of the aisle that are going to disagree with some of the things I said, and I'm okay with that. We can agree to disagree.
Well,
I'm not going to chastise you. I'm not going to throw stones at you. I'm not going to cuss you because you disagree. But I feel there should be a sense of respect that you don't do the same to me.
Well, one of the biggest things that we hear the most of is Trump's a woman hater. That he don't like women. He ain't got, and then all of a sudden the women are jumping onto this other lady that's come out here, and it's like, I don't really see, this Harris administration don't even know the difference between a man and a woman. They let men play in women's sports, and Trump is trying to stop it. And just because he grabbed a woman, at least he knows what one is. It just I don't know. It's just this world's weird, and it goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago. There's just people right outside the doors here, right here locally, that'll only vote one way because that's the way they were raised. All of us. We mentioned it in the last program. Almost everybody in here was raised a Democrat. That's just the way it was. That's the way we all were brought up here.
Well,
and a lot of us have different views now than what at least the newer Democratic Party does.
Let me tell you how things have changed. Things have changed in this country. We have what I would call a double standard. And this double standard, a lot of it has to do with Trump. And I think it's because, Trump is boisterous. Trump speaks his mind. A lot of people don't like that. Trump's got a business-like approach to things. And I think a lot of people think he looks down on people and things of that nature. In a business, you're trying to make money. And I know it's wrong for me to say this, but, sometimes in the business economic world, you got to step on people's toes. You got to get people to do things, get in line. Give me an example. You remember Paula Jones?
Oh, yeah.
Paula Jones was believed to have had a sexual scandal with
Billy.
Bill Clinton.
Oh, Billy.
America didn't believe that Bill Clinton had anything to do with Paula Jones. They didn't believe it. No way could Bill Clinton, a man of his prestige, his political power, have anything to do with Paula Jones. Well, I'll give you another one. There's a woman named Tara Reid. And I may be pronouncing her last name wrong. Tara, R-E-A-D-E, Reid.
Tara Reid.
Tara Reid.
Yeah.
Believed to have had a sexual scandal with Joe
Joseph.
Biden. Nobody believed it. Nobody believed that Joe Biden would bring that type of ridicule to his family. Well, now you have E. Jean Carroll. And everybody believes that Donald Trump had a sexual relationship with that woman. And a judge, an unbiased judge, basically stated that Trump would pay her millions of dollars. Well, I'm just going to tell you, I think that'll be overturned. And I think Trump will come out smelling like roses. Problem in America is we believe what we want to believe. If we don't like something, whether they're right or wrong, we condemn them wrong. It's just what it is.
Trump is your typical northerner, though. If you talk to people from New Jersey or New York, they have the same demeanor. Now, if Trump was a southerner, people would take what he has to say a little bit easier. You know, you can throw in a little bless her heart, God love her, I love her, but she's
Well, most people from upstate New England area kind of give you an abrasive
they're kind of
personality.
They're
Abrasive
not
personality
real.
doesn't mean they're bad people. They just, things that you do here, you probably couldn't get away with in New York. Like in New York, okay, somebody cuts you off in traffic, you blow your horn, they flip you the bird, you just go on.
But
Here,
bless her heart, she can't drive.
Yeah.
I love her, bless
but
her heart.
but you look at this area, somebody cuts you off and you blow the horn, they flip you the bird. Next thing you know, you're stopping on the side of the road. You want a piece of that. You're gonna knock the heck out of somebody. It's just the way we are. We're born. Yeah, we're born and bred different. But that doesn't mean that New Yorkers and New Englanders are bad people. They're just
abrasive.
They're just abrasive. And you go down to the South, and most people down there have what we would call good Southern hospitality. They're very, very
abrasive behind your back.
Yeah,
I mean,
but there's good and bad in all people. But I go back to what I said earlier on this program. We've come to a point in this country where people will believe everything they hear. So what has to happen is we have to show them that they are wrong in certain capacity. You hear it so much. That it becomes normalized and you think it's right. And then you try to change somebody's opinion. Well, they've heard it on the media, and the media is not going to lie to you. The media is not going to lie to you. Trump called them fake news. Elon Musk just called them out. He just called them out today over the fact that the Kamala Harris campaign had been implicated in changing headlines. Fake news. They're not telling you the whole truth. They've got a narrative.
But you got so many people that will believe. And that's what I tell people all the time. I say, turn the TV off. Turn the news off, put your phone down, and go outside.
Okay, my question is
then you'll forget about everything.
Okay. If you turn the TV off, how many racial issues do you hear about in this country? If you turn it off, you don't hear it.
You don't.
I mean, I'm not prejudiced. I don't have a
You
problem
don't hear
with
about
anybody.
the violence
But
or anything else
if you
going
don't
on.
see it on TV, the TV promotes a sense of negativity because when you turn it on, they talk about crime, they talk about death, they talk about violence, they talk about negativity, and it weighs on you so much that you think we got all these problems in this country. Most people are concerned with the here and now. A lot of people don't even know what's going on in the world because they're pre-consumed with their own little world. Okay, most people don't even know that Israel is being attacked right now by Iran, and that Israel has an Iron Dome. Elon Musk and Trump talked about there's another country, there's another place in the world, and they had 1 billion people watch them on
It
X.
actually shut down the systems or something.
That tells you it's so big that maybe it's bigger than people can think. 1 billion people. There's only 8 billion people in the world, and 1/8 of them watched Elon Musk and Donald Trump talk about problems
on X of all things. Yeah.
That goes to show you that the media, between me and you, I don't mean this being mean, but I think the media, these mainstream media programs, they're in trouble. They are in trouble. And the reason they're in trouble is people like Tucker Carlson. Tucker goes on, creates his own platform, and he's got millions and billions of people following him. Then you got Elon Musk and Trump, billion people. It tells you that people want the truth.
Well, it's like we watch 3 or 4 different guys on YouTube that go around the world and go around the world, but they do a lot of local things too. They've got millions of subscribers and millions of views and stuff. And one of them actually wears a shirt that says "Rip Main Street Media."
Okay, why do you think?
Because he reports real stuff.
Okay.
Not he goes to the heartland or like He would go to rural eastern Kentucky and report to poverty or something.
But reporting used to be like that. Back in the day, news was boring. Like, you would just, like, you didn't want to listen to the news. Now it's like an entertainment channel.
Yeah.
Like,
Who's better than who? Yeah.
You know that I said a couple months ago on your program that the House of Representatives had passed a bill to ban TikTok, that it was going to the Senate to decide. Why do you think they want to ban TikTok?
Because people
Because
show
it's
live
uncensored.
videos instantly, like when the bridge. When
It's
the boat hit the
uncensored.
bridge,
I mean,
it was
it's live.
Yeah.
Say that word again.
It's uncensored.
That's the reason they want to ban it, because you have people that at any time can pick up their phone, access TikTok, create a video, post it, and billions of people can see it
Well,
and
it's just like
decide
right
for
now.
themselves rather than have to be told.
You go
the narrative.
live on TikTok right now.
I
Mark.
don't have a TikTok.
Mark and Melina have a shootout here in the store, and they shoot each other. You're going to see that on TikTok before any news channel gets here. Now, we're going to be able to say, hell, Melina shot him right in the nuts. And he's laying over here and he ain't worried about no spider anymore. But the media is going to come in and say, well, he shot her first, so she had, and they're going to make this big goofy story, and then they're going to try to take TikTok down. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why they want a ban on TikTok.
You can see what's going on in Ukraine right now.
You're
on
right.
TikTok.
You got
The media
people
won't show you.
uncensored showing you things that are going on that contradict what the mainstream media is telling you. That's why for 3.5 years, and let's go back even further, for the last 8 years, the man has called them what? Fake news. And everybody keeps saying, why does he say that? They don't report.
Before they were going to ban TikTok, they actually had the creator, owner, the CEO of TikTok there. They were trying to strong arm him and tell him that he needed to censor stuff.
Okay, I'm going to give you one.
Word that he didn't feel like it was his place to censor stuff.
Okay. If they had anything on Donald Trump would be in jail.
Yeah,
you know it. They have tried to destroy his financial assets. They have tried to take him off the ballot in Colorado. They have raided, FBI has raided his home, even went through his wife's personal lingerie and his son's bedroom. Yet Donald Trump, his son, has not been in the news like Joe Biden's son with all the illegal activities, but yet Trump's getting raided. Okay, they tried to take him off the ballot. They tried to destroy his financial assets. They tried to destroy his public image. He's a womanizer. He raped this E. Jean Carroll. Okay, this week what they do? What they do to Trump this week? They had to make you think Trump is bad. So what happens? Trump is flying to Billings, Montana, has an emergency landing on his plane. His plane is experiencing technical difficulties. So what happens? He takes a private charter, a plane owned by a company, and they claim that because that plane had previously been bought by a different company, that it had previously been owned by Jeffrey Epstein, that Trump is connected to Epstein.
If he had been connected to Epstein and went to Epstein,
it would have already been out.
He would have been the first name.
Okay, my question is this. Let's talk about Epstein for just a second. The Epstein list was talked about, that it was going to be leaked. All of a sudden, that died quicker than 4 o'clock. It died. I mean, we've yet to learn of any one person on the Epstein list. This past week, Ghislaine Maxwell was interviewed at her prison, and behind bars, she still stated that, and is protecting them. She protected Prince Andrew. She said Prince Andrew does not know Jennifer Guthrie. Did not, still defending him. Yet there's pictures of them together. She arranged it, and we know that he is implicated in it. But yet she's protecting him behind bars. Why have we not got to see the Epstein list if they have it? Why? Yeah. Okay, if Trump's name was on
it, you would have
already
known
knew it.
You would have already known.
It would have been Front page news of every major news publication in the United States. He's not on there. He's not on it. They can tie him to it all they want to. He didn't go there. He didn't trust Jeffrey Epstein. He disassociated himself with him. And the problem is, some of them didn't. And there's implications of child pedophilia in this country. Human sex trafficking is the single most and number one problem in this country. 800,000 kids go missing every year. 8 million kids go missing worldwide every year. I'm telling you, President Trump was the first president to ever sign a bill and work with and create a committee to attack human sex trafficking and stop children from being sold into sex bondage. The very first day that Joe Biden was president, he did what to that executive order? He undone it.
But Trump's a pedophile. Trump's a sexist, racist, all this other stuff. That's all we hear about. It's like we're talking about the news. Turn the news off and you won't hear it.
It's gonna make us women go back home. We can't work anymore.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
I hate that. It's serious.
Oh, he ain't gonna make you now. By golly, if you're under Trump, you are gonna work. That's the thing. You might have one leg, but he's still gonna put you to work.
Gonna put us back in the home. That would reduce the tax revenue by half. Stupid.
You were talking about planes, emergency landing earlier today, just before we went on the air. J.D. Vance, his plane had to do emergency landing just today.
The door of the plane came open in mid-flight, and he landed. They secured the door, and he took off again.
Yep. So it's kind of odd that you've got a Trump plane and now J.D., which is still a Trump plane, having malfunctions in what about a week apart at this point? Same week, same few days, whatever it's been.
Trump had his own private plane, his own private people.
He did. His plane malfunctioned in air. There was a bad odor coming from one of the departments, so they landed. And when they landed, the plane was under some scrutiny, investigation. They didn't want to take it. So he basically chartered a private jet and flew from Billings to, I don't know where, somewhere in Montana. I can't remember what it was. But, huh? It was Bozeman. It was Bozeman, yeah. And he took a private jet, and they put the Trump endorsement on the plane. The media did, and they wanted to tie it to Jeffrey Epstein. Trump has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, you can't make me believe that, because I'm a firm believer if they had anything on Trump, and I mean absolutely anything.
If the man sneezed and accidentally farted, it would be
a long time ago. He'd already been, and like I said,
Me too.
All these cases against him. One of which was thrown out because of presidential immunity, and he's supposed to be sentenced on, what is it, September 18th. See what happens. Yeah. I'm not saying he won't go to jail. I've said I thought he would go to jail, but every time something happens, his numbers just do what?
Just go up.
Because people see it. People are opening up their eyes. They're opening up this stuff.
Yeah, Lord, I don't know. You got anything else?
No, I don't got anything else.
You good to go?
I've said my piece. And then some.
Possibly the next time they see me and you, we'll be eating hot wings.
Oh my gosh!
So I got to get that set up, but
you, my friend, are trying to kill me.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, guys. And what we're talking about is Giovanni's has asked us to come over and do like a cross promotion thing with, the show, and plus them, doing like a double thing where me and Matthew's been asked to do a challenge with the ghost pepper chicken wing or something.
Oh my God!
I don't know exactly.
You didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that.
Whatever it is.
What is that one ghost pepper called, like the Reaper or something?
I don't know what they've got down there. Obviously, it's something because they've said they've seen it online. So I don't know.
God.
I don't know what it is. But like I said earlier tonight, before certain people were let in the building, before we air again, everybody has Amazon Prime. Go over and watch our boy Jim Foster. His new movie has actually released. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Terror House. Go over and watch it. The trailer is on YouTube. and you can see Jim on there. I mean, it looks really interesting. I can't wait to actually see it myself. But it's on Amazon Prime. We should be on here before then, but I'll go ahead and plug the September the 14th, 4 days before the Trump sentencing. We got a free soup bean dinner at the Hazel Green Food Project. I myself will be delivering 100 meals that day. So if you know anybody, that needs something delivered that can't make it out, let me know. I'll bring it to you. If not, you can come to the Index Community Church starting at 2 p.m. and get you a meal. I think it's soup, beans, cornbread. I don't know.
Oh my God, you're making me hungry.
What I don't know if it tells you on there what it all
Big
it
green
is.
onion.
But there's some going to be some goodies on there.
I'll take the soup, beans, and cornbread and onions over the ghost pepper reaper hot wings any day of the week.
Sorry, buddy. You already called me on a FaceTime video and agreed to do it, so now we're both screwed. Just need to get us a big jug of water. But we can't back out now. But ain't nobody said we couldn't eat one and then drop out. But anyway, we eat one each and drop out. We'd be the sorriest bunch ever. I mean, he didn't ask us to do the pizza challenge. He asked us to do this. Hell, I'd have rather tried to do the pizza challenge myself. But I know I probably couldn't have never survived it, but I don't know. But anyway, it's been fun, guys. We appreciate it. I don't know when we'll be back on. Probably another week or so. I know next weekend I'll be in Western Kentucky, so I won't be able to do anything. But if something breaks throughout the week, we might be able to jump on for a few minutes and do something like we've been known to do a few times when shootings and weird, crazy things have happened. We got anything else here real quick? Like I said, I had this on here. Subway calls emergency meeting for franchises because sales were plummeting. But, so that just goes along with everything else that's struggling. A lot of businesses are having to close and, a lot of big franchises. But,
I didn't mention this earlier. I probably should have. The United States government granted Ukraine another $3.9 billion this past week. And authorities in Ukraine discovered 4.7 million euros, which is equivalent to over $5 million in an unaccounted cash as part of a criminal investigation and tax evasion by a group of companies that supply products for the Ministry of Defense. They found it in the back of a vehicle, $5 million. The money was found in the trunk of the accountant's car. The woman was unable to explain the origin of the funds, and the mainstream media has confirmed that this is not your hard-earned tax dollars. They confirmed that. Yeah.
So they just got millions of dollars just running around in vehicles with it.
Yeah, sounds like Operation Mockingbird.
So, I thought that was weird that the mainstream media mentioned that there was confirmation that that's not your hard-earned tax dollars. How do they know when there's no accountability for the money that we've sent over there? Even though Rand Paul keeps calling for that. Let's account for every dollar we send and make sure it's spent justly where it's supposed to be spent.
I don't know. They've got more money over there than we do over here, that's for sure. But, tomorrow starts the fall squirrel season for any hunters out there. The hunting seasons are officially here now, so if anybody wants to get out and hit the woods, I know Mark and them's got a bunch of them over there.
Yeah, mine.
So, since you broke in, to the show when you're not supposed to be here, I may have to break into your squirrel feeder. But anyway, we appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back. Like I said, it's whenever Matthew wants to. We will do all the time. I don't matter to me. We try to let it build up enough to get a little bit of stories going. I think it's been, tomorrow would have made 2 weeks, I believe, since the last time we were on. So it may be that way again. And like I said, unless something breaks, but then we'll move on. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. And until next time, everybody stay safe. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you all on the next one. Take care.